Hello, hello, I'm Anna from Craft Me a Card, and I love crafting for the crafter, and that is you. Thank you so very much for joining me. And yes, sometimes I like to play with different voices, so I'll stop that now. Yes, this is a Wacky Wednesday, and I sure did start wacky. So on Wacky Wednesdays, I like to share with you guys something that is different than a card. So in this case, it's going to be this Easter ATC that is going to be going out to NC Mountain Mama, which is having a challenge on her channel. And I love working with small spaces so it could be detailed. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to create something for her and enter the challenge. She will be raffling away $100 to a lucky winner.
Me, pick me!
Yes, Stephanie, I hope I get picked. All right, let's get started with this ATC. Okay, what is an ATC? It is an artist trading card, and I believe that in the past it was used to exchange art pieces with other artists. But recently we have seen them being requested to enter challenges, and it is my pleasure to participate in these challenges and sending in an ATC. The size of an ATC is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. It's about the size of a playing card. I'm holding a piece of plastic. This is thick plastic with the measurements of the ATC. And I like to have pieces of plastic that are thick like this so they can help me visualize the piece that I will be working with. More specifically, the background that I will be using. The dice that I will be using is one by Spellbinders, and this is Hoppy Sunday Drive. And I like this one because it has a lot of different options that you can use with it. You can use Happy Easter, Happy Spring, Hoppy Easter, or Hoppy Spring. Okay, so the first thing I do is cut these little pieces out of leftover scraps from other projects. This is a great way to use up all those little scraps that we feel so guilty about throwing away. I know I'm not the only one that feels guilty about throwing these little pieces away. I know it! So using dies that are tiny like this is a great way to use up all those little scraps that we have left over. Okay, so once I run all these little pieces through my die cutting machine, I go ahead and I start assembling my little scene. A wonderful friend when working with little pieces like this are tweezers. When I first started working with tweezers, I felt it very awkward until I discovered the secret behind it. Before gluing the piece onto your project, place this little piece onto your tweezers in the same position in which you're going to be gluing it onto your project. Then add the glue, then place it on top of your project. Otherwise, it's going to be a little awkward to place the piece onto your project when the tweezers are not positioned correctly. Knowing this made the difference in the world for me. So now I love using tweezers. Okay, once I put all my little pieces together, I went ahead and I worked on my background. Now I knew I wanted a background that was nice and soft with Eastery colors. So I grabbed Squeezed Lemonade, Quiche Flamingo, Shaded Lilac, and Tumbled Glass. Later on, you're going to see me change that Quiche Flamingo to Sponge Sugar. I felt the Quiche Flamingo was a little too dark. So bringing in just a mat here to protect my mat, I go ahead and I smush these colors onto it one by one. Add a little bit of water and then just bring the paper onto it. And I start with yellow first because I consider it to be the lightest color. And this technique is called the smushing technique. Then I move on to Sponge Sugar, Tumbled Glass, and then Shaded Lilac. Since the piece will be wet, you can leave it to dry on its own or impatient me. I like to use my heat tool. And once the piece is nice and dry, I bring in the piece of plastic that has the size of my ATC and I just check out to see what piece I want to use. Using the paper trimmer, I go ahead and I cut this piece out, cutting it 1/4 of an inch smaller because I want a first layer under it. So for my first layer, I decided to recycle this cover of this ukulele catalog that I got back in 2012. I want to give this ATC a different kind of texture to look at and feel. So this woven pattern is going to be my first layer. Again, have fun with your projects, be creative. Being able to recycle things like this just really makes me happy. Okay, bringing in some liquid glue, I go ahead and I stick the inked piece onto the woven piece we got out of that cover. Okay, and then again with liquid glue, I go ahead and I mount my little scene with the little bunnies and the little family just driving away in this car. Once I have the main image finished, I go ahead and I start building up all the little details, putting in the greeneries, the flowers, the speckled eggs, and just making this card fun. I also decided to add some leftover teeny weeny little flowers that I had left over from the fairy card I made. Okay, and then I go ahead and I add some corners. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you can leave this ATC as it is, but you know me. I decided to add a little bit of something, and I added sprinkles. And these are sprinkles that you would sprinkle on a cupcake or a cake. It's sugar, so it doesn't go bad. So I've always found it quite fun and interesting to add these to some of my cards. They're tiny, they're colorful, they're fun, they're different. So yeah, I think that this little container here I got on clearance. And this was about maybe, I would say more than 10 years ago, and these things are still intact. Just comes to show how they don't go bad. So I just go ahead and I add different kinds, different colors all over the place just to make this little ATC a little more festive. And to glue them down, I use some Jewel-It glue, which is the glue that I use for my gems. I figured that it would give these little pieces a stronger hold. And for the tiniest little pieces of these sprinkles, which are these little balls, I go ahead and I dip a piercer, or as some call it, a pokey tool, and I just dab a little bit of glue to the end of it, to the point of it, and this helps me grab these tiny sprinkles and place them on the ATC. I use this same technique when I'm working with really tiny little flowers. Just grab a little bit of glue on the end of a stick and then place it onto your card or project. I remember when I started doing this eons ago, the Cricut still did not exist. I used to use the point of a pin that you use in sewing. I used to use that and to help me position these little pieces onto my projects. And for the center of the flowers, I add some green NUVO drops. I thought that would be a good addition since they dry dimensional. And even though this ATC has a lot going on, I still felt it needed some sparkle and shine, so I added some Stardust Stickles just to the banner where it says Hoppy. And here it is. I hope Stephanie likes it. I hope she enjoys it. I think it came out super cute, lots of details, and I think that that's what I love of making things with details, is when people admire them. So you have the little speckled eggs here, and you have all that sprinkle. As my niece Carolina would say, super cute. Thank you so very much for joining me. I hope you get inspired. I hope you create and be happy. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit the notification bell, like, and comment. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. I don't like this background. Don't like this background. Don't like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I know. But I don't like it. Sorry. And I see some... Ah! I didn't close it up, dummy.